We're hearing a lot in the news today about cybersecurity. Data breaches from companies like Google and Uber and Facebook. So we want to talk a little bit more about why cybersecurity matters. We're here with Max Wandera, the director of our Cybersecurity Center of Excellence. Hi Max, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Great.
Thank you for having me here.
We're loving you here. It's great to have a subject matter expert here to talk a little bit more about why cybersecurity is so important and what are the things that we're doing. So you heard me mention a little bit, we've got Facebook, Google, Uber. We're seeing a lot out in the news about cybersecurity and data breaches. Why is it so important for companies to be thinking about cybersecurity?
Now, I think if you look at it from Eaton perspective, the products that we build and where they end up in our customer environment, they manage critical infrastructure. We have our products in the data center, we have our products in the utilities, and it's very important that Eaton makes sure that these products are secure, because our customers are looking at Eaton to make sure that we are selling products that are not hackable, products that they can trust that when they install them and they go back to their homes, that their systems are operating the way they're supposed to operate, and they're giving the value that we promised them that our products will give them.
Our world is so much more connected than it's ever been before. So I can imagine when you start having systems talk to each other, you've got smart homes, that makes it even more important to make sure that everything in the home or everything in an industrial facility is secure.
Cybersecurity and quality is one thing. You're expecting that when you're buying a product, it should have the same quality, including cybersecurity quality that's required. And you should never think about cybersecurity when you buy a product. Same thing, when you buy a product, when you have an iPhone and you log into your bank, you never think about, is this website secure? You are assuming that the iPhone itself, came up with security to protect you when you're browsing and you're going to the websites.
So just that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Right? That inherent trust in the websites you go to and the products you access, however you're accessing them, through your phone or through a network connection, that information is secure.
Exactly.
So how are we thinking about cybersecurity at Eaton? How are we thinking about it differently than other people are?
We are ensuring that we've started embedding cybersecurity into our product development. When you say secure by design, what we mean is that we have added cybersecurity in all the phases of development. And then once we build our products with security, we also now move into secure by default. And that concept is where we release our product, and then if a customer install our products into the environment using our default settings, the product is still secure. So cybersecurity is embedded in our process of how you build your products.
From the very beginning?
From the very beginning.
So you start thinking about a new product. What are the requirements for determining whether or not something we should be thinking about cybersecurity? Is it going to have a network connection? Is it going to be on the internet?
So in Eaton, any product that has an embedded logic, whether it's going to be connected to a network or not, has to go through cybersecurity. And the reason behind that is you might not be connected to the network, but that device or that product might be protecting an asset, an important asset. And that asset, you have to service that product. You have to configure that product. You have to use tools to do that. You have to have it might have a USB port that you want to plug in a USB to update the firmware. So it's important that we ensure that all those connections, we have put some level of requirements to protect that product.
When we think about our Center of Excellence, so what do we do in our Center of Excellence? How does that really set the foundation for cybersecurity at Eaton?
It's a very good question. So Cybersecurity Center of Excellence is chartered with driving cybersecurity requirements, best practices, and technology across all the products that we build. And we do that through our secure development life cycle. We do that through ensuring that we are providing customers with communications and white papers that can help them deploy our products securely when they buy them from us. And we also provide them avenues to communicate with us. When there's issues with our product in terms of cybersecurity, they can communicate to us securely. And we can work with them to resolve those issues very quickly.
How do we make sure that there are standards for what secure by design mean? What does cybersecurity actually mean in industry? Because it could mean different things to different companies. So how do we make sure we have a level playing field?
One of the things that we are doing in Eaton, we have partnered with UL. UL came up with a UL 2900 certification standard. And we are the first company to be accepted by UL in their data acceptance program. So what does that mean to us in Eaton? What it means is that now we are taking the leadership to drive common criteria of how to assess connected products. And we're going to see this trend moving along, because as a customer, when you buy a product, you want it to be secure, but how do you validate that? What's the independent body that can validate that for you? And I think the partnership we have with UL is going to set us to that direction of creating a standard, a common standard across.
And do you see that happening in other regions potentially too? They're becoming some kind of IEC standard certification that acts the same way?
Yeah, we are seeing that in Europe. IEC also is coming up with is pushing out to come up with their own certification criteria, and we are hoping that all the standard bodies are going to come together and talk and come up with a common criteria for assessing our products.
Do we think that there's not only a lack in standardization, but also just a lack in knowledge or expertise about what cybersecurity really is and the best ways to protect against cyber threats?
People need a framework to understand guidelines of if this product is sold in this market, what's the framework or guidelines around cybersecurity? Driving same standards of requirements as a company, and we're doing the same thing. The requirements that we are putting to our products, which are stringent requirements for cybersecurity. In Eaton, you cannot release a product without meeting our cybersecurity requirements.
Okay, so that's really critical. We're actually saying, hey, we're not going to release a product unless it goes through a cybersecurity assessment?
Yeah, and that's the stand we have taken the last 3 years. The same stance, we are putting them to the supplier. Any product that comes to us through a supplier, once it goes through a cybersecurity assessment. If it doesn't meet those requirements, we don't let it go. I think we've worked with so many suppliers now, and the feedback we are getting is that we're actually making their products more secure, and also we're making their products more marketable because we are pushing the bar. And our customers also now, having partnered with, collaborated with the UL now, they're now excited because now they don't need to validate our work. They can rest assured that our work has been validated by an independent company.
Max, thanks so much for coming and talking cybersecurity. There's some really cool things we're doing here at Eaton to help make our customers more secure, so thank you.
No, thank you very much for having me. I think this was great. I think definitely our customers need to know what Eaton is doing in cybersecurity world, and this is great.
Absolutely, because we make what matters work.